Welcome back to WagerTalk TV. I'm Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, and I'm back with my three most public NFL sides for this Sunday, December 13th. And you better pay attention. I started this video 4 weeks ago. The first 3 weeks we did this video playing against these public teams each week has now gone 9-1 against the spread. 3 straight winning weeks in a row. We're going to try to make it 4 straight with the three most public plays in the NFL this Sunday coming up here on this video in just a moment. Quick reminder, if you'd like my personal best bets, the actual games that I'm using this Sunday in pro football, go to WagerTalk.com right now. 12-3, 80% start for all sports in December, including an 8-1 start to the college basketball season. Hey, we're talking pro football, but don't forget about college basketball. 8-1 start this season, including a 12-3, 80% all sports run for December, college and pro football, college basketball. Everything available right now on my personal page, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Let's look at the three most public plays in the NFL for this Sunday, December 13th. Now, keep in mind, the public plays, the lines are normally inflated. And that's why I mentioned these games. They're not pure play against situations, but you want to be very cautious if you're backing these teams because you're probably giving up a lot of line value. So far, the first 3 weeks I've done this video playing against these public teams I mentioned here has gone 9-1 against the spread. But guess what? You've only gone 4-6 straight up. That's because of the favorites that have failed to cover, 5 of the 8 still won outright. We had an underdog that lost. And we had the Packers last week, but only one team out of 10 so far, and they were up 7 late and got a breakaway touchdown for the cover. Otherwise, they would have won straight up and failed to cover as well. So once again, 9-1 playing against these teams the last 3 weeks against the spread, but 5 of the 8 favorites have actually won straight up yet failed to cover, and that's because the line is usually a few points inflated. The most public play this week looks like it's going to be the New Orleans Saints. They're currently -7 at Philadelphia. And I have no problem playing against the Saints here. In fact, right now, my free play this week in the NFL on WagerTalk.com is the Philadelphia Eagles +7. I think this is not only a very public play, as I mentioned, but it's also a potential flat spot. It's actually a huge flat spot for the Saints. It's now their third straight road game in 3 weeks, their fifth road game in the past 7 overall. And guess what? They have a huge game next week on deck at home against the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champs, a very likely Super Bowl matchup, perhaps, Saints-Chiefs next week. Hard to imagine the Saints are going to be fully focused for this one. And the line is once again inflated on top of that. Eagles have lost 4 straight. They're struggling. Maybe they get a spark, though, with Jalen Hurts starting the quarterback this week. And more than anything, we get some line value because the Saints are the most public play this week for Sunday in the NFL. Second most public play this week looks like it's going to be the Tennessee Titans. This game opened around 9 or 10 a couple weeks ago. The look-ahead line about 2 weeks ago is going to be 9.5 or 10. It opened actually 7.5, 7 this week, so it's actually not as inflated as maybe you think. But the public wants nothing to do with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're having a miserable 1-11 season. But what's interesting about Jacksonville, despite being just 1-11, they're still 6-6 against the number, and they've covered some games recently. In fact, they've now covered 4 of their last 5 they've covered, even though going 0-5 straight up. So once again, playing against Jacksonville has been what the public's been doing. Those lines have been inflated. The last 5 weeks, the favorite has won all 5, yet they've only covered once of those 5. Jacksonville has covered 4 of the last 5 times as an underdog. Could very well be 5 out of 6 this week. Tennessee Titans, meanwhile, coming here off a heartbreaking loss to the Cleveland Browns. It was a tough physical game. They've got the Lions on deck, no big deal there. But this could be a bit of a hangover here against one of the worst teams in the league. And once again, the Tennessee Titans look like they're going to be the second most public play this week in the NFL. Third most public play this week, from the second week in a row they make the list, is the Green Bay Packers. You know, I mentioned earlier, Green Bay is the only team since I started doing this video a month ago that has covered as one of the most public plays. Playing against these public teams has gone 9-1 against the spread the last 3 weeks. The only one that's won and covered was the Green Bay Packers last week against the hapless Eagles. But keep in mind, Green Bay barely covered that game even. They were up 7 late, got a breakaway touchdown run, a few minutes remaining to win by 14, to win by double digits. Otherwise, they would have failed to cover the 8.5 point line. By the way, I mentioned here in the video last week that the Packers made a good teaser play, taking them down from 8 to -2. Same situation here again. Instead of laying the -7.5 or -8 at Detroit, you're probably safer taking the Packers down to -2, puts them in a more straight-up win situation. But the Lions are a dangerous underdog regardless, and they could win this game straight up. Would not be a surprise. They fired their head coach, made some changes 2 weeks ago, came out and beat the Bears outright as a 3-point dog last week. Their offense is also getting healthier, and they've put up 59 points the past 2 games after getting shut out on Thanksgiving, the Sunday before Thanksgiving against Carolina. They've since come out and put up 59 points those last 2 games. So they could be more of a live underdog than we realize. And the Packers, once again, -8. Line looks a little inflated. If you are going to play them, you're probably better off teasing it down to -2. Green Bay Packers look like the third most public play this week in the NFL. Don't forget, playing against the public's not always an automatic play, but it's something you want to be aware of. In the last 3 weeks, playing against these public teams I mentioned on this video has gone 9-1 against the spread, yet it's only 4-6 straight up. A lot of those teams have won but failed to cover due to the inflated point spread. So once again, if you're looking at these favorites this week, especially the ones more than a touchdown, I'd recommend teasing them below 2.5 or less. It's probably a safer option than laying the extra juice and points. Don't forget, if you want my best bets in football, football, basketball, every sport right now, 12-3, 80% start at WagerTalk.com. 80% start to December. And my strongest best bets, the personal games I'm using this Sunday in the NFL are ready right now on my page, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Best of luck this weekend. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to WagerTalk TV, and leave me a comment below and let me know your thoughts on this Sunday's NFL card. Best of luck, and I'll be back soon with more videos right here on WagerTalk TV.